Hi there, it's Phil Binks here. I previously made a couple of videos regarding the Luna Display device, which is a little dongle that you plug into your M series Mac. Mostly is most likely to be the device that it's plugged into, and that then allows you to use an old iMac as a screen. Now, I've been using that for several months now, and it's been absolutely superb. It's allowed me to use my previously owned 2013 iMac, which was a 27-inch iMac, as a secondary screen. So I bought just a normal 2K screen for my Mac Studio, which is an M1 device. So I was using the standard 2K Dell screen as the main screen. And then as I say, my old iMac 27-inch 2013 as a secondary screen, and it has been absolutely superb. But I've got a lot of questions regarding how to use a 5K screen and whether it was any good for that. The 5K screens from Apple were released from 2014 onwards, and so I went out and I purchased one. So I'm going to just show you the setup that I've got right now. So here, this screen here is the iMac 27-inch, and it's a 5K screen. And I got it for an absolute song. Got it for 300 Canadian dollars. And I suggest that that kind of price is very possible if you go around. People are not buying these old Macs because, of course, they run on old operating systems, so they're deemed pretty worthless. But it's the brilliant way to get hold of a 5K screen without buying an Apple Studio display, for instance. So you tell me of another way of getting hold of a 5K screen for your Apple Mac that works really well for kind of under $500. And this is the reality of what we're looking at. The screen that's just here, that's my Dell monitor. That used to be and is realistically kind of the main monitor on the system. But this new 5K iMac, they both match in terms of size. They're both 27-inch. It's just that this one is a 2K screen, and this one, of course, is a 5K screen. So what I'm going to be doing is showing you the quality, whether you can use it in real production work. I'll be doing a little bit of video editing. I do a lot of photo editing as well, and everyday use, and give you my ideas as to whether I'm going to keep the setup. So keep watching and I'll go through how you set it up, what to do, everything you need. So firstly, let's get down to the hardware that is required. You'll need to have a device which is called the Luna Display. You'll see this on the Luna Display website. The link is in the description of this video, so follow that to go and get one. We're looking at the Luna Display product, and it's essentially a little USB-C dongle, or there's an HDMI version of it as well. These are the only two that Astrapad, who are the makers, actually supply right now. So essentially that will go into your Thunderbolt USB-C style port. So that USB-C style port has to support display protocol. A Thunderbolt port definitely always does, or you might find a USB-C with a display port icon next to it. That is what's required for the main Mac. So your main M series Macintosh is going to have this device plugged into its Thunderbolt USB-C port or HDMI port. There is no requirement for any Astrapad hardware to be plugged into the iMac. Your best option for speed is to connect the M series Mac, so your Silicon Mac, via a USB-C port. So you need a USB-C cable with a USB-A connector at the other end. You can plug that into your iMac, so you get a direct connection between the two devices. So for example, you'll have a USB-C cable Let me just show you that properly. USB-C port on the cable at one end, and then a USB-A connector at the other end, and that A side is going to be plugged into your iMac. This side, the USB-C, will be plugged into your Thunderbolt USB-C port. I've found that the technical information on the Luna website just says it needs to go into a USB-C port. I found it actually only works when it's plugged into a Thunderbolt port. This is the cable itself. The device, the Luna display dongle, has to be plugged into a Thunderbolt port or a display port qualified USB-C port. The other wired connection, so the second great way of connecting, is to simply have both of your computers on a hardwired network. So both of them would have an Ethernet cable plugged into them. They can actually be directly plugged into one another. So you get a cable like this. So here is your Ethernet cable, typical Ethernet cable. That would go into both of your Macs. It can go into both and connect the two together, or it can go into your router stroke modem and connect that way. That gives you a direct wired connection between your old iMac and your new M1 Silicon Mac. The third option is to simply use the wireless network, and that works very well as well. Now, in my situation, I've got my modem right in the same room as me. It's just out of shot here, but I can connect both of the Macs wirelessly to my network. But if we are looking for the ultimate in terms of quality and lag, then wired connections appear to be the best way. So let's now go through the software requirements. You're going to need two elements of software from the Astropad website. Again, the link is down in the description. You'll need a piece of software which is called Luna Display Primary. For your iMac, you'll need Luna Display Secondary, and they're both available on the Astropad website. Let me show you how to get to that website right now. So this is the Luna Display website. See Luna Display just here, and you'll just follow that. You can watch it. There is a picture of the dongle, and it says turn your iPad into a second display, but we're looking at computer to Mac. So we are actually looking at turning your iMac into a screen. And later on we'll be looking at this headless mode option so that you've only got one iMac and your main Mac. But what we need to do is have a look at the downloads. So let's just scroll through and see if we can see the download areas. So it says app downloads just there. Okay, let's click on that. Okay, so this is the Luna Display option, and we will click on to continue. And it says you have a primary device and a secondary device. So you download the primary app for your main M1 computer, and then you would download the secondary app, which would go on to your, in this circumstance for this demonstration, your iMac. So there's two different pieces of software for each of the devices. So I hope that's clear to you. Load both of those applications. So I'm now going to try to show you the difference between the two screens and the quality that you might get on the 5K, and maybe if you see a little bit of lag on the 5K screen, you'll get an idea as to how much there is. I think there's very, very little, and it certainly isn't something that I see at the moment that's going to stop me using the 5K screen as my main screen. And I've actually relegated the 2K screen to the secondary monitor. So that just shows you how much I think of this 5K screen, and also how much I think that the Luna Display is really a great device that's going to give you your old iMac a secondary life. Remember, this is where your iMac might be an early, 2013 or 2014. This is a 2015 model now. I was previously using a 2013 model without any problem at all. But I've loved the quality that you get with the crispness of the 5K monitor. And I wanted to make sure that that was still a usable thing without any lag. And certainly the way I've got it connected at the moment, and I'll try the other ways and you'll see how those go. But right now I've got it connected via USB-A on the iMac to a USB-C straight into the Thunderbolt port on the back of the M1 Mac. It could be an M2 or an M3 or even an M4 in the future Mac. Any of those Thunderbolt style connectors directly into the USB-A should work. So let's have a look. I'll show you what we have in terms of the way the screen is set up right now. So I've put a high quality, very high resolution picture on the 2K screen. It looks absolutely gorgeous, nothing wrong with that. And what I'm going to be doing is dragging it over to the 5K screen. I can try and do that right now for you if you want to see that. So this is essentially what I'm going to be doing, dragging it over from one to the other. And you can see that as you drag it, it really is pretty lively, works very nicely, pretty smooth. And so I hope that gives you an impression. But what I'm going to do now is put it on the screen in a couple of different ways so you get an idea of how it looks when it's coming back over to the 5K screen. So the first thing I'm going to do is try the old dual share. So you can see this screen here now, and I'm on this cursor, I'm moving it around, and the 5K screen is on the left, and you can see the reality of how well it goes between the two. Okay, so that works very nicely. Of course, the screen that you're currently looking at is, only a small version. You're not going to get the full idea of the quality until you see it really for yourself. But what I'll now do is bring this picture onto the 5K screen, and the 5K screen will be the only thing that we're then looking at. So let's see if I can do that. So this is our 5K screen. I'm going to bring it straight over, and that is the quality that you get. If I move it around a little, it may or may not break up. It depends on what you think, but you see very quickly and clearly that it really is a very nice looking image on that 5K screen. So let me just bring you back, and I'm going to bring you to the continuity camera so you can see that I've got this main picture on the screen looking really, really nice. I can go to 1:1 and you can see it goes much, much bigger, and I can scroll around it if I wanted to and see that kind of detail if I needed to as well. And if I bring that over to the other screen, it all works very seamlessly anyway. So let's just get it back to fit, and that's about the way that it would fit from one screen to the other. So hopefully that will give you a bit of a clue as to how well the 5K screen looks. It is very difficult to show this kind of thing really, when we're looking at YouTube videos and they're not even 5K themselves. So, but anyway, that will give you a bit of an idea. Let's see how that all pans out. I'll now splice together all of this recording and give you a view as to how well it all works for video editing. Thanks for watching so far.